Hi, good morning, Ahmad, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all the attendees. It is pleasure to have you here, Ahmad. Uh, First of all, congratulations for passing your PGMP with flying colors. So very happy to bring you here and talk about your journey and learn from you. And also, of course, people on the they're also listening to you and they wanted to know more about you, your journey, and how did you prepare and what exactly you did. So we'll get to that. And welcome everybody. And I like to acknowledge that yes, we are going through a difficult time at this stage. Almost everyone is impacted by this coronavirus. Everyone is somehow impacted, whether you have to work from home or somehow you know you may be losing something in stock market or oil price. There are so many things going around the world. Despite of all these things are yes happening, we can't do much about them, but what we can do, how can we use this lean time to prepare ourselves for something which is coming in coming days, when things are settling down. Are we ready to excel in this new world, which is going to be different world, I can imagine. So what we can do, we can prepare ourselves, whether we have some certificate, extra certificate, and yeah, that will be useful. And yeah, given that we always busy when we are working, it is difficult to find time at the time in those days. But now, because we are working from home, we don't have to travel. Yes, you still have to work, but you should be able to find extra time or some time to prepare for certificate like PGMP. Ahmad, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, thank you, Dharam, for having me as a panelist, and thank you everyone who are watching it. I just wanted to say I was like a month ago or 2 weeks ago, I was on the other side and I was listening to the similar videos and the success stories of other PGMPs. So I think you are doing the right thing to be here to learn, get any experience from me or from Dharam. As Dharam just mentioned that with this COVID epidemic, it's very stressful time for everyone. But I would say like with every situation like this, there's an opportunity. So the opportunity right now is time. So you have probably more time as opposed to you used to have. So use that time wisely and think of this way that with potential like economic slowdown and layoffs, uh, when the hiring process will start again in the near future. So the companies are really going to look for like a lot of skill sets. So having a PGMP will set you apart from other applicants in the job market. So be prepared, and it's through PMI. It has a great value to it, and we will talk about that today.
Yeah, yeah. And you are based out of Seattle in USA at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, I
Yeah.
am from Seattle, Washington State.
And would you like to say a few words about you? Your where are
Yeah,
you working? What kind of job you're doing?
exactly. Yep. So I've been working as a project manager for about like 6 years now, and in my experience so far, I've been working on different projects for like past like 10 years. So I was based in New York a couple of years ago. So I recently moved to Seattle area, I would say like 3.5 years ago, and working as a project manager at a company called Lighthouse E-Discovery. They are the leader in providing e-discovery services to the Fortune 100 companies. And I would say like my whole experience in my career and my passion is around the project management and the program management. So this certification of PGMP resonated to my career aspirations and the path I wanted to go into in the future. So it was like no surprise, like when I heard about this PGMP certification and talked with Dharam in the beginning that this has so much value. So I right off the bat I decided to pursue this certification.
Yeah, perfect. Um, so yes, you mentioned that you are into project management for some time. Just to remind the listeners, while your role as a designation as an organization, you are a project manager. but you are doing programs as well. So it is a very common myth around, like people think that because my role is, or my designation or title is the project manager, I cannot be certified as a PGMP. What you have to see, whether you have done, whether you are running programs under the title, whatever, does it matter. It can be a project manager, a senior project manager, a PMO head, or CEO, director, whatever role it is, whether you are running programs. If yes, if you are running the program, you can, so you can apply for PGMP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just wanted to say something here. Dharam, as you
yeah,
just
sure.
mentioned, that's absolutely true. It depends on what type of responsibilities you have. So program manager is just a title. So if you're managing large projects and they are interdependent on each other to achieve the common task, as the PMI says, then you have the program management requirement experience. So in my case, I have been doing that like throughout my career in different roles, whether at my current company or my company before. So I had the same confusion in the beginning, and I sorted out with Dharam. So yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
thing to
perfect,
know.
perfect. Okay, another thing is you are not PMP, isn't it? You
No,
directly
I
decided
am
to go
not
for
PMP.
PGMP.
Yes,
Yeah, you directly decided to go for PGMP. So yeah, again, that's another myth around. People think that you have to do PMP before you go for PGMP. Uh, so I have seen many people who have, decided to go directly for PGMP, because just think about that. If you're running program, why do you want to do something which is, not of your level at this stage? Because having PMP is good, but at this stage you can directly go for PGMP. So that's where you decided to go for PGMP instead of having doing PMP then PGMP.
exactly. And that's true that a lot of people would think about PMP having a certification is a prerequisite for PGMP, and it's not. So PMI does not have wants to have you PMP first before taking the PGMP, as long as you had the required experience and interest, you can certainly go for it.
Perfect. All right, so a little bit about myself as well. I think most of people already know about who I am. I have been teaching PGMPs, PfMPs, and PMPs for a long time now. I started teaching in 2009, and I'm proud to say now I have 274 PGMPs from 40 countries and 38 PfMPs. So PfMP wise, so far it's 100% result. PGMP, I can't still say 100% because I started in 2009. A lot of learning happened in the meantime. But now, most of my students, when they go through the exam, they are getting the past result. So, and I think, Ahmed, I have to remind people that yours was not a first attempt pass. And I would like to talk about that as well. What happened in your exam in the first attempt? It's not that you were not ready. It was more about the center, the problem in the center. So
Yeah.
I like to touch that as well. You passed your exam in second attempt, but the first attempt when you were in the center, would you like to say a few words about that?
Yeah, definitely. And thank you, Dharam, for bringing this up, because that's an important issue that a lot of people are seeing these days. So I took the first attempt about 2 years, sorry, 2 months ago. And at that time, so as you know, like exam is like 4 hours long. So I wanted to take a break at the 2 hours mark. I took the break at 2 hours mark, but at the time when I was taking the break, the associate at the testing center, she logged me out from the system. When I came back from the break, she couldn't log me back in to my exam. And that whole like process of, like a connectivity elapsed for like 30, 40 minutes. And you know that you're like already stressed out when you're taking the exam and you're losing that 30, 40 minutes. And the testing center had to call their IT team to sort it out what happened. What they learned at the time was there was system outage at the moment when I was logged out, and they couldn't connect me back. They were unable for like 40 minutes. Long story short, I was able to log back in after 40 minutes. And can can you hear me? Uh, think something went. I cannot hear you either, Dharam. Hello? Let me see. Yeah, the internet is working perfectly fine on my side.
Hello?
Hi, Dharam. Yeah,
Okay, I think it was my problem. So
it's
my audio is back now. So I think you can somebody say they can hear me now? Yes, okay, perfect. All right, sorry guys, it's a technology. Sometimes we can't do much about it. Okay, so thanks, Ahmad. I probably completed your thing. So yeah, so after talking to you on that night, you realized that you can go back to PMI and you got the free exam. Did you talk about that?
So as Dharam just said, like the issue was on the side of testing center, and PMI was very responsive to my complaint. They right away logged in. I complained, I think so, like on Friday, and on Monday they reached back to me and let me know that they will invalidate my test results and let me take the exam for free. So I says like thumbs up for PMI. They are very responsive and very professional in handling such matters. So uh, it's my advice to you: if any of these events happens, just report to PMI.
Okay, perfect. Uh, People are still saying they can't hear me. Srinivas, can you confirm? Can you hear me now? Ahmad, no voice from your side. I don't know what's going
Uh,
on.
can you guys not hear me?
Okay, they can hear me now. What about Ahmad? Okay, they
Hello.
can hear us, both of us.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, so let's continue. And so yeah, that was very important point. I like to bring this because it's not only Ahmad. You have seen this problem. I have noticed with other people who have different type of problem. And many times we just take it as a fate. This was meant for me. I didn't pass it. I will prepare hard again. That's all good. If it is your fault, uh, that's something you have to do it. But in this case, if it's a logistic problem like internet down, if the connectivity away, if PC is not working, first thing first, you should contact me if you want to. Dharam, this was my situation. What happened? I have seen many cases. Most likely, I can guide you better than directly go to PMI. So that's where Ahmad was able to go and talk to them immediately, and then you got the free exam. All right. Okay. Good. So Ahmad, I have few questions for you. And guys, if they're listening or watching us, please feel free to ask your questions. So I will ask whenever the logical time, or if there's a question for me, I will be more than happy to answer as well. So Ahmad, I have few questions for you. So let me read my question. Why did you become PgMP? What was your motivation behind it? And what value did you believe PgMP will provide you in your career?
Yeah. So as I just talked a little bit in the beginning, that I've been working as a project manager for so many years, and my like a career experience is like excuse me, over 10 years. So I always wanted to have a PMI certification because uh, all of my employers in the past, they have given so much value to the certifications through PMI, and I wanted to have, honestly, I wanted to have a PMP in the beginning. And I was like always asked from, like either you apply at jobs or you look at the jobs online, they would require PMP as or PgMP as one of the requirements. So I was feeling the need of it, and also I was, like I did my master's like almost 10 years ago, so there was a huge gap in my academics. I just wanted to catch up the gap and the new, information that was out there. I just wanted to acquire that. And I believe in that scenario, after talking with Dharam in the beginning to pick which route I should go to, and I decided to go to PgMP route because that made it more sense for me, based off of my work experience and based off of my career aspirations for the future.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, great. So I have another question for you, Ahmad. Is it necessary to immediately schedule for exam and then prepare for their target date, or plan it for some other time after preparation?
I would say it depends on the person. For me, I would choose the first option, which I did. I after studying SPM and ECO like one time, taking the mock exams from Dharam and doing some practice on other exams, I scheduled my exam right away because I do not wanted to put this thing on the back burner at all, because I knew that this is important for me and I wanted to do it. So I set the first exam date like right into like after finishing my study, and that was like 2 months apart from that point. So that strategy worked for me because I was able to better plan my time until the exam. And if I would have chosen the other option to keep thinking about it, probably I would not have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you are very, very busy with your work, with the little one, and a lot of work going on. You were very busy at the time, but yes, you managed to find time, and you did it.
Yeah.
You were actually saying that I don't think I have time. I'm very, very busy.
Yeah, that's true actually. I just want to put it out there to all the listeners that we all say that we are very busy, and every time you would come back with some, like an excuse. So I was kind of like busy, like where my wife and I were both working like full-time jobs, and I have two little kids, like 4 years old and 2 years old, and having them around me, and both of like us like working full-time. And I also want to add that my wife, not only she was working, she was also studying full-time. So we were both like doing like study, work, and kids. And I told Dharam, like, Dharam, I cannot do this. But I remember like in the very beginning conversation that we had, you mentioned that some example, like you said that like you have heard people that they want to do something, but they keep pushing on, like studying for like many years, and eventually they never do it. And that struck my mind. I don't want to do the same mistake. I know I can say that it was not easy for me to manage time, and but it's totally worth it. The pain paid off, the time spent paid off, and it's a great feeling once you have completed your exam or the pass your exam.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I have a question from audience. I'm a PMP, and it is around 8 years now, and I'm managing projects based on my experience in real life. We generally don't use all the PMI concept while managing projects. What value PgMP brings to the world if we are not entirely using PMP concept? Is it just another certificate? Yeah, you want to take it?
Yeah, I would take this one. I would say, think of this way. Most of the companies do not follow the standards, but you know that like the standards are made for some reason. I would say like there could be like some exceptions. The companies are not following the standards, but majority of the time, like the Fortune 100 companies, they do follow these standards very closely. And I would say like if you have the knowledge from PMI, it will help you certainly, not only your on current job, maybe like the jobs in the future. So saying that like your company does not follow the PMI standards, so you should not acquire some knowledge. So that kind of itself like sounds like deceiving. I would recommend, if you have aspiration, if you want to do it, certainly go for it, because as you might have seen value after doing the PMP.
Yeah. Another thing, Ahmad and Yogesh, so it is no, like every organization is different. How they have matured or maturing is totally different. Whether you're working in India, or whether in Saudi Arabia or USA or Canada, everywhere they are using their own standard most of the time. So what PMI has done, they have they collected their professionals, and they build this knowledge or standards. And now it is up to the organization whether they wanted to be mature and deliver the projects and program. And if they do, they have a better chance of running the programs and projects successfully. For you, the opportunity is, you after learning the standards, you can actually take some knowledge and start teaching or improving your organization. That will be value add for you. Yeah. All right, so we'll come back to the other questions as well. Let's see. What are the critical competencies required by a program manager for success?
Um, I think so. The first one goes like is having a domain knowledge, like what industry you're working in. You need to have a good understanding of the like the business and your products that you're working on. And after that, as a personal competencies, I would say like leadership is at the top. And after leadership, I would pick on communications, stakeholder engagement, and risk management. Risk management is really important because program managers, they have projects that are like either like very risky, or like involve like large investments of the company. So you better have like a good understanding of what risks can pop up during the process and how you're going to mitigate them. So having a good understanding of the risk management is certainly one of the key skills that you need to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the few other competencies which anybody should have, one of them is the leadership skill. Because you're leading group of project managers, and you may be sometimes you're running a very large program, you definitely have to have a good leadership skill, because you have to interact with your senior management, you're interacting with your beneficiaries, you're interacting with the team, and you're resolving issues as and when required, in managing conflicts, assigning work. So a lot of work, a lot of things are required as a leadership, in the leadership skill. Other skills like communication skill, stakeholder engagement skill. So there are many skills which we can use, which we learn as part of PGMP learning, which can be very, very useful. Even if you're not doing PGMP, can be useful when you're running your programs. Okay. All right. So let's take a question from audience. What is the minimum period of time necessary to prepare for the exam? Tell us about your journey, then I will give my side.
Okay, the right answer is everybody's different. So if you have really good understanding of I would say PMP or like PMI certifications in general, it could be like at least 3 months, or it could be like six months to 1 year. It depends on the person. So in my case, I did not have PMP, but I did the certification in about 6 or 7 months from start to very end. So it totally depends on the person, how much time you're giving, and how much knowledge you have. But I want to bring in like a good point here is that in my experience, I was spending at least 2 hours every day, regardless of like how busy I was. And I was studying, I was making sure that I'm not putting this thing behind, and this was my top priority after my work-life balance, and like after my work and everything. So it matters like how many hours you study and how much knowledge you already have. So that would determine your readiness for the exam.
Yeah. Another thing I will say, everybody is different. You correctly mentioned. Everybody is differently busy, sometimes too busy. But if you are really want to do PgMP, you need to fix a time. You can't just say I will do in 3 years time or 2 years time, or let me see whenever I can. So my suggestion is target should be not too far and not too aggressive. Unless you are free, you don't have anything else, you're more than welcome to have 1 month, 2 month target. But I think realistically, if you can afford to give 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours per day, and 3-4 hours on the weekend, you should be targeting around 2 to 3 months. Beyond that, it can stretch sometime more than what you're planning. Another suggestion I have is, once you have a date, don't try to move it, because once you start moving it, you know that you can always move it, and then every time you're getting closer to the exam date, you will move it. I've seen many cases, by the way. So that's
It's
why.
very tempting, actually. It's very tempting.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we'll come back to the audience question a little later. So can you explain your journey, PgMP journey? I think you start talking, but and what inspired you, and a little bit about your application process as well.
Yeah, so my PGMP journey, as I just mentioned, that it took me like 6 to 7 months. It started in 2019 in September, when I first talked with Dharam and did the phone screening of each other. It started at the time, and after that, like first like 6 weeks to 8 weeks were for study with Dharam, and in that time period, I prepared my application, submitted my application to Dharam for review, and did the course with Dharam for like 6 to 8 weeks. After that, I continually like kept studying for like until I take my exam. So in a like a timeline, it's in my case was like 6 months to 7 months, and the whole application process was just like, in my case, it was very quick. My application was accepted in the first attempt, and that was great news. And PMI, like we will talk about probably later, they gave so much emphasis on the screening of the applicants during the application process. So that's a one very big achievement if you get your application approved in the first attempt. So yeah, any questions you have here, Dharam?
Yeah, so you mentioned 6 to 7, you took 7 months, but as I talked earlier, you actually did exam in January. So
Yes.
that extra 2 months is not because of your preparation, it's more because of the, you have to restart, you have to go, book exam, and you were a little bit busier during that time. So yes, you did first attempt in 4 months time,
Yes.
and you did second attempt after 2 months. So I think you were on right track by putting the exam in 4 months. So that was a good time frame. Okay. Uh, okay. So I have a question here. It's specific to the application. What are the criteria to get the application approved? So, one thing is, let me take this one. So is, of course, you have to eligibility, that 4 years of project management, the 4 years of program management experience, and you satisfy the required experience, and of course writing the program uh, in a specific way, talking about the organization and vision of the organization, mission, strategies, and the key drivers. So put some more information around your program, and when we come to the 5 questions, the experience question, you have to write them in such a way that is, one is a story, and explain the process you use, the way you perform your job in that particular domain or subdomain. So if that's the case, and if the application has no problem at all, uh, the application approval is much faster. Yes, there is a possibility the panel review can take extra time. It's not just because the application not good enough. Sometimes the reviewers or panel reviewers can be busy. And remember, these panel reviewers are just like you and me, like volunteers. And we get busy, and for us, priority may not be the PMP may not be the first priority. So it can take extra time. But generally speaking, application approval, first phase around 15 days, and the second phase can take around 2 to 4 weeks. It have seen many applications getting approved faster, and some application even took longer than that. Ahmad, anything on that?
Yeah, and one other thing is that like PMI has given like specific examples, like how are you going to calculate your timeline for each of the projects. So the key point that is there is to make sure that you do not overlap the experience. If you overlap the experience, you lose that time. So you have to accurately put your timeline into the application where you complete the required number of years of experience. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
Application.
Perfect. All right. So, all right. What would you be like specific advice for the aspirant for PgMP? Yes, we have been talking. Any specific advice you have for the PgMP aspirant, where they should
Yes.
start and how they should target?
Yes, I actually have two or many, but I would start with these topmost two. The first is your time management. So your time management is going to play a key role in your readiness for the exam. So make sure you spend time every day or every other day and not study for 15 days and then have a gap of like another 15 days. Do not do that. And the second is continue reading SPM and ECO multiple times and make sure you understand the mapping of the ECO to the SPM. So please understand here is reading is just not you're just reading a newspaper like type of thing or a textbook or like a novel or something. So you have to understand the concepts. So I have in my training process when I was studying, people were saying like you have to read at least 7 times or 8 times SPM and you should like memorize the ECO tasks. So it does not matter like how many times you read SPM. What it matters is that like how well you're understanding. In my experience, so after reading SPM 3 or 4 times, you would start developing really good understanding, and that's like enough reading. But if you feel like you want to read more, you can certainly keep reading further if you were having like some weakness in certain domains. So for example, like if you have read like 3-4 times already, do some practice exams. If you still feel like you're weak in certain area, go back to that section of the domain on the SPM and read that over and repeat this process until you fully get the concepts. So yeah, that's my big advice, to understand and not read.
Yeah. So how useful was my Pathfinder for you?
It was really great actually. Yeah, that spreadsheet that you had, it's really great. Because in the beginning, when you would start reading PgMP, that whole spreadsheet or the mapping is just like a myth. You do not understand what's there, why the things are there. But after you have read like at least SPM 1-2 times and studied the ECO task like a couple of times, then you will be able to start filling those sections in the mapping book, and you will eventually get it. And as I mentioned earlier, before taking the exam, it's very important to have full understanding of the ECO mapping to the SPM.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so let's see. There are a lot of questions coming, Ahmad. So what question I have? So what is the minimum period? I think we talked about minimum period required for preparing. What material you use during the exam preparation? Okay.
Yeah, that's as Dharam is taking my interview, and he's one of the trainers. And I, of course, like Dharam was mentoring me in this whole process. And I took Dharam's exam and, studied the book that he gave me. And apart from that, Dharam was like a really cool app, which I would like to mention. And it's no joke that anytime I was not driving, my wife was driving, I was sitting on the other side, on the other seat, I was going through the app and doing the questions. And like anytime I was traveling, doing, like just sitting idle, or like, whenever I had, like a window of time, I was going to the app and doing the mock questions, like just to test my knowledge. And
Yeah.
these were the main sources. And of course, in addition to them, Dharam recommended to uh, do the mock exams from Ginger's book. And my experience with Ginger was like really tough. So I know like Dharam mentioned that to have like certain percentage of passing score in Ginger's book, and I never get that. So I know like recommendation is to have like 60 to 65% in Ginger's exams, but I was closer to like 50. And in Jean's exam, this is another source that Dharam recommended, to study the Jean's book and take the mock exams. That I found it really helpful, because the way Jean has written his like book is more of like a explanation all of the domains. It's just not the questions. It's just the explanation of the chapter, and then the questions at the end, and then the mock exam at the very, like end of the book. So all these like sources help me. And I would say if you can find some other sources online, if you have exhausted all these sources, just go for find another sources and do their exams as well. uh, I would say like do as many questions as you can. Every time you kind of like memorize like one author's questions, switch to a different author, so that you're not memorizing the questions. Yeah, this will keep your brain sharp and make you ready for the exam.
Yeah. So a couple of things about the material you use. I do mention or recommend, highly recommend Ginger's book, and I know her book is very, very hard. The questions are very, very tough, and sometimes vague answers. But I still want people to use it. One is that gives you reality check. You know, that may, after your preparation, you may feel that, oh, let me try one question set, and you score 35%, 40%. There are two things can happen here. One is, okay, oh, I don't think I'm ready. I will not go. That can break your confidence down. And second is, okay, I'm scoring 35%, 40%. What I have to do to improve myself? And that is, in a Ginger book is good because she take you back to the very minute detail in the book. And when you go through the book again, uh, then you do the mock exam, your answer will improve very fast. And another reason for putting Ginger's book in front of you, because after getting defeated by Muhammad Ali, you can be you can win your street fighter very easily. So real exam can be very, very easy. Once you feeling comfortable with Ginger exam, the real exam can be very, very easy. And that's where the experience of people who use it properly. So that's what I still highly recommend. And with Jean's book, I like to say they have stopped publishing their book. I still have only, I think I'm left with 4 copies. So, and I'm only giving those copies to my student now. I've stopped selling on the internet because you can't buy them on Amazon. You can't buy anywhere else. I have left with 4 copies. And yeah, so if you are lucky, you join the program, you can buy that book from me directly. But that, as I mentioned, Ahmad, the book is really, really good. All right. Okay, we'll come to the other questions as well. And by the way, before you finish the questions, yes, there are a lot of material available online on internet. But before you download or buy anything, make sure you know the author. Make sure you know the authenticity of the material. Sometimes there are online material, they say free or pay $10, $5, but these material can be just as simple as somebody converting the PMP question into PgMP question. And also check whether these questions are based on standard for program manager 4th edition, because some material is still there, still based on 1st edition or 2nd edition. So that can be waste of your money and time as well. Okay, let's come back to the question. So yeah, tell me why you selected me. I know we talked about this.
Yeah,
Why
of course.
vCare?
Honestly, so this is a true story. And I was following Dharam on LinkedIn for about a year before I decided to have him as my mentor. Uh, so when I decided to give it a shot, I asked Dharam like, "Hey, can we talk?" And we set some time, and he gave me a call, and we kind of like talked about like 45 minutes to an hour to discuss like my background, my like experience, my like academics and all that. And while I was talking with Dharam, and of course, like I wanted to continue this course, but at the same time, I wanted to evaluate the mentor, right? And I think so. In that conversation, what I heard from Dharam was like very professional in the beginning, and he gave me really good ideas, and he kind of like gave me like told me about the statistics, like how many people that he had trained has passed the exam, and all those information that he gave me in that call helped me. And of course, like after that call, I was like still like to some extent, I was like, okay, I do not have time. It's like the exam itself is expensive. The application process is like a very like a rigorous, and let's do it some other time. Let's do next summer. But in the meantime, like I kept going back and forth to decide like whether I should do it this time or not. And I checked his website, and vCareProjectManagement, I believe, is the correct URL. Yeah, I checked his website, and I started reading through like the content that's up there. So the few things I learned from the content, I saw like a couple of like people's like real life experiences, and the diverse population that you had. I think you had people from US, from Australia, from India, from Abu Dhabi, and like every other country. So that like inspired me. I was like, yeah, definitely, it's the right mentor. He knows what he's doing. He's been in this field for like long time, and he has like produced so many like PGMPs or like other certifications. So that made me like so easy to continue with the.
Thanks for your kind words, Ahmad. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Um, all right, so okay, let's see question from system here. Okay, audience saying, okay, there's a very simple question. Define SPM. SPM is nothing but standard for program management. Fourth edition, we call it. We have abbreviated as a SPM. And there's another term we are using, or we will be using, or we use all time ECO, that is examination content outline for PgMP. And ECO is a very important document because that will show you what exactly you have to perform as a program manager in 5 domains. Okay, so that's another document people should have. So just to, while I'm top topic, let me give you the minimum required documents. You should have standard for program management 4th edition, and PMBOK 6th edition at this stage, and ECO examination content outline. So these 3 documents from PMI you must have. And then of course there are other books material which you can buy from me, or you can take my book and other material available in the around the world. Okay, so what other question we have? All right, so is it easier to prepare PGMP than PMP certificate? Okay, you're not a PMP, so I don't know. Would you like to say something on this?
All right, here's the thing. I do not have PMP, right? And I feared that not having a PMP would impact my PGMP certification. But like to start off with PMI certification, you need to have some knowledge of PMP and where it comes the PM book. And I had that book as one of the guides, and anytime I needed to go and refer that book, I was reading it. So that book itself is a beast. It's like I don't know, like 800 pages or something. But you don't have to memorize it word to word. You just need to understand the key concepts from there for your exam. And I would say like easy and difficult. It depends on like how you prepare. So
Exactly. So it's very important how you are prepared makes exam easier or difficult. So if I ask you to go to do exam, go and do a CAPM exam, the easiest exam for PMI, and you have not done any preparation, so the same exam can be difficult for you. But if you have done enough preparation for PGMP, you've gone through SPM, ECO, and you learn how to do the questions, the exam can be easy. Okay, and I've seen many people who gone through this program. They pass exam, not only pass exam, but they completed the exam in 3 hours, 3 hour 15 minutes, 3 hour 30 minutes. So, and that's because you are prepared, sometimes over prepared. And when you go to the exam, you actually find the exam is really easy compared to what you have gone through, what I actually put you under. Because I can ask you to do easy exam and do, but when I'm asking you to do the Ginger's exam, I'm really asking you to do, putting you into a difficult situation. Yes, you may fail in Ginger's exam once or twice, doesn't matter. What matters is when you go to the exam, you should not fail there. You should go and pass the exam and come out with a happy face. That's what I want to see. Okay, so what are the questions we have? Okay, my company never asked to do PGMP. Do it still make sense for me to go for PGMP? If I don't get to manage program, what value PGMP would bring to my company and my career? Ahmad?
Again, I would say like it depends on the type of experience you have or type of the job you have. And the second thing is that if you have aspirations to do it or not. So if you have aspirations to do it, if your company does not require it, I would say still go for it. But think of like a long run, apart from your job, apart from your company, like what value this certification brings to your like personal development. Think of that way. So we all go to like schools, like like some people become like like doctors, like MBAs, like scientists, but whatever we read in those textbooks like is not like 100% applied in over like at the jobs. But having that knowledge in from the textbooks or from the schools is always like our backup, and it helps like at different times on our jobs. Like like when I did my MBA, my first job was not related to MBA. So there you go. So now I'm a like I've been working as a project manager for like so many years. So it helps me like every other day when it comes to like strategy development and new product designs. So all that knowledge that you have acquired, it comes back to you at the time, and you have readily available. And if it makes you like stronger, like team player. And to answer your questions, you need to evaluate your current circumstances and see like if if it's an inspiration to you or not, or if this is something that you want to continue in the future or not. If the answer is yes, then go for it.
Yeah, and another thing is in the situation, the time like currently we are going through is very difficult time, and we likely to see a lot of layoffs, and many companies going to be I touch wood shouldn't happen. They're bankrupt, so they start losing people or letting people go. In that case, if you are stronger, if you are a better candidate, you have a still chance to stay in the company or find better job outside. Otherwise it will be difficult time. So the purpose of you going for PGMP, Yogesh, is to make yourself more ready for the coming challenges. So that's what my advice, and I think that's what Ahmad is also meant to say. Okay, we have so many questions coming. Okay, let's see. I don't have program manager experience. Am I still eligible for PGMP? No, look, Yogesh, it's about what kind of work you do. I think we talked about this, and whether your role is project manager, program manager, doesn't matter. Whether you have run the programs. Program means you're running multiple projects, and these projects have interdependencies and common outcome. If you have that situation, then you are running program. So I think if you have specific question on that, I think best is to fix a 15-minute time with me. I will be more than happy to ask you, or I think you have a lot of question about the eligibility part. So I will be more than happy to help you on that. Okay, so other question I have is, if you are selected for audit, okay, if you are selected for an audit, what type of documentation would require for you? Question is because most companies do not allow make public their project detail. Okay, so okay, if you do get picked up for audit is simple. One is, so they ask you two things. One of them is your copy of a final degree, whether your bachelor's or master degree. You have to take a simple copy. You don't have to get signature from anyone. And the second is you need to get signature from your manager on the program description. Your company may not like to see the information going out. That's okay. When you're writing the program names or and organization, you can always write something else. Like say instead of saying you can call ABC program or XYZ company, so that you first is you're not revealing the name of the program and the company. And if you're picked up for audit, your manager has to sign that the program description. They are not revealing anything else. You are not revealing anything about your organization. They just have to sign the piece of paper, the program description, and they will put in the envelope, and top of that they will sign again. So these will be seen by only by PMI, and of course every organization has their privacy policy. So don't worry too much about it. It is a simple process. They don't want to see anything other than what you have mentioned in the application and your signature from manager. I hope that's clarifying your question. Okay, so I have a question here. How much is your course? Okay, oh, wow, good question. So I have various programs, and I have boot camps. Unfortunately, at this stage, I'm not doing many boot camps because of travel restrictions, and as you can imagine, I don't want to travel, and you don't want to travel. But other than that, I have started virtual boot camps. It's a 3 days boot camp or 5 days five half day boot camp. So whatever it is, you know, because I'm in San Francisco, my time zone and your time zone, I'm trying to cover most of the time zones. So I can send you information about these programs, so you can pick one of them. Or and there's another program I have is the group mentoring program and the personal mentoring program. So they come with different cost. As you can imagine, personal program is a little costly. The group mentoring program is cheaper, and you need to see which program financially plus your learning style will help you. Cost of the courses I can give you, but I think I will rather send you the email with the link so you can see various options and you can check your options here. Okay, Ahmed, question for you is, Ahmed, do you face any issue on timing during the exam? So actually, my question is, how is the best to manage the time for PgMP exam? Mohammed.
Yeah, actually, it's a really good question, because when you are put into the scenario of like completing 170 questions in 4 hours, and sometimes the questions involve like lengthy calculations and the paragraphs and that you have to read. So you have to effectively manage your time. So here's my tip here. So when you're studying at home before taking your exam, anytime you're stuck at picking one of the answer choices and you cannot decide which choice is right. For example, like 4 choices are given, and if you cannot pick like more than 1 or 2, that means like you need to study more, right? That's a simple rule, that you are lacking the knowledge. You cannot eliminate the incorrect answers. But sometime in my experience, I noticed that like I couldn't refer to SPM, Standard for Program Management, or like any of the PMI guidelines. What should I do? On those moments, think of that. What would you do at your work? What you have done in the past when similar situation arose at your current job, and what actions were taken. And if your organization is following standards of PMI or somewhat standards of the generally accepted principles, then you would lead towards the right choice. So another thing here is that if you get questions in the exam that are like one-liner, answer the questions, do not overthink it, move on to the next one, because you never know what the next question is going to get. It can probably take you 3 to 4 minutes. So keep moving through the questions quickly as possible. And if you're stuck at a lengthy questions for more than 1 minute 30 seconds, just mark it and move on to the next one, because each question is graded equally. So there's like no more extra points for attempting a like a question that is like like earned value calculation based off of 5 projects that has a huge metrics and with 1 paragraph. So you will not get 10 points for that. You will still get like 1 point as you would get for 1-liner question. So just dedicate 1 minute 30 seconds to each question. If you cannot answer, guess it and move on to the next question.
Yeah, very important to keep moving. Otherwise, sometimes if you spend too much time on a particular question and your easier question can be left out, the result can be different what you were expecting. That's great. Thanks, Ahmad, for this. Our other question, okay, what are the costs incurred in the whole process, the workshop, mentor, books, and exam? Yeah, so Ahmad, do you want to have quick on that? How much did you spend?
Well,
or roughly?
Yeah, so exam itself, if you're not a PMI member, it's like $1,000. So having the membership and exam is just like $1,000. And if you add books and like a training on top of it, it can vary depending on what sources you're using. But I would say roughly around $3,000 if you're going to go for the books, mentorship, exams, and some like other resources. Then you need to have that.
So I think that can vary a little bit, depends on, like they mentioned, the type of program you go for. It can be around 2,500 to 3,500, depends who's your mentor and what kind of program do you take. The personal program, my personal program itself, it's either $2,500. Many people go for that, but so that means you add whatever you cost you mentioned. So anyway, so by the way, I did mention that, but let me mention, whoever is listening to today's program and interested to join my upcoming virtual boot camps, I'm offering $200 discount. So if you're listening to this program and if you can get back to me next 2 days, I will share the coupon code for you with you, and you can register to this program and you can save $200. So my boot camp, virtual boot camp, I have already discounted $200 because one is I don't have to travel and I don't have to worry about visa and accommodation. The second is I'm giving you $200 extra so that you can take action faster. So you are free to book some time with me, 15-minute time to discuss anything which we have not answered in the call, or anything you want to know about my programs or eligibility or anything related to your whatever question you have about PgMP. So I will be more than happy to share the link with you. If not already you have, I think within, yeah, I will share the link so you can book some time with me, and I will also share the upcoming programs as well. Okay, so do we have other questions here? Do you know what score need to get? Okay, so this is again very subjective. PMI is not revealing any score, how much score you are getting or you should getting, and it depends the type of books or the type of mock exam you're using. And if happen to use Dr. Ginger's question, my expectation is 60 to 65%. Jean's question, which around 70-75%. My question around 70 to 75%. So that's kind of range we are looking for, and we are looking consistency, and we are looking for, I'm looking for 4-hour exam. So you can score 80%, but if you're doing in 4 days, doesn't mean much to me. I want to see 4 hours and whatever score you're getting. So that's how you're going to evaluate your readiness. Okay, thank you. A lot of thank yous coming. Question for Ahmad. Did you took any notes during your preparation?
Yes, a lot of them. I had like my personal notebook, and as I mentioned, like everybody is different. So my study style is like writing the notes, and I had like lots of written notes about the key ideas and any concepts that is like not easy to understand, I would just write it down and summarize it for me, and I will draw all the pictures. So here's another important one. Regardless of like the concepts, so you should know how all the like the tables and the diagrams given in the standard for program management, you should know by heart. There are not too many in there, but the sequencing of them, you should draw a virtual. If you have a big whiteboard at home, just draw a big virtual, like a uh, like the representation of the whole process, from like a strategic alignment to the closing of the program, and in between write down all the key concepts for yourself, and like change it every day. Like if you learn new thing, if you have like memorize the previous concept, erase it, put the new thing up there in the board, look at it every day and keep revising that.
Perfect. We got a couple more questions, then we'll close. Let's see. After taking your course, do you have a plan in place when you should sit for the test? Yes, I do. When you attend my program, I actually also give you the recorded programs as well. My recommendation is watch those videos, and when you're watching those videos, you also go through the reading material. So by the time you finish the recordings and you've done the mock exam, so basically, if you can finish the program, allow another 4 to 6 weeks, maybe let's say 8 weeks, that kind of time frame I'm looking for. So I will actually guide you what exactly you have to do to be ready for the exam. And one more thing, you will have 1 hour session with me a week before your exam. In that 1 hour, I will analyze your readiness. I will check what else you need to know so that you will be more prepared. And we'll talk about what you have to do in the last 7 days, last 24 hours, and the morning of the exam, last night, how you have to, make sure you don't have any stress. Morning of the exam, and 15 minute, how to utilize the 15 minute, and what exactly you have to do in the, when to take a break. So I go into very detail so that when you go for the exam, you don't have to worry too many things, because all the things I will be covering and making you aware of. So yeah, rest assured, if you have taken my club program, or you've gone through my program, you will be very ready for the exam. So I like to see my numbers going from 240, 74 at the moment to 300 in next 4 months. I know it's impacted by the coronavirus, problem, but I'm still very confident next 4 months I will have 300 PgMPs. So I'm very passionate about my number. So what that means is I'll be putting my extra, whatever 100%, more than 100% effort for your success. You will not let down at any time. So as Ahmad can always say that.
Happy to help.
Okay, so I think one last question I have is, does this exam also research or the graded question? No, the question does not get difficult easy because the way you're attempting. So based on your, you get a PMI select exam, a question, 170 question in the beginning, they don't change. I don't think that there is anything like that. So if you want to start from 170 questions going backward or first to end, doesn't matter. So I think this is the end of the questions we have or planned for. And what I wanted to say, this is a tough time for most of people, and actually it's a good opportunity for most people as well. While this is a lean time, you are staying at home, you have less work comparatively, so use this time to prepare yourself and be ahead of the game when the right time happen, when the things settle down, and you are more prepared for getting back to the job or finding the jobs. um, please take care of yourself, because this is not a this is serious situation as a coronavirus. uh, Everybody should take care from their side, not to looking after themselves, looking after the family and the society. And do whatever you have to do so that we don't fall in the trap. We don't want to lose more people in this whole process. We want to come out of this whole situation with the flying color, and with again we can prosper us and we can excel in this environment. Once again, Ahmad, thank you very much for your time. I know it does take a lot of time to prepare through questions and be ready for all the questions we got in this whole process. And very, very happy or proud to have you as my student. And I am sure more people will go through this process and pass the exam, and more people will be available for sharing their experience. Um, any last minute thoughts?
Yeah, I would just say that to the people who are studying actively, and just don't get be discouraged if you're not getting a right score, but your objective should be to get good understanding of the knowledge and keep trying. And I'm one of the examples sitting right next to you. Did not have PMP, did not have time. I did it, and you guys can do it too. And it's just like the hard work is the way to go here. And there's no easy shortcut. This exam is not easy. Just think in your head and just prepare that way, and you will be just fine. Just relax, believe in yourself, and in few months or whenever you have your targeted dates, you will be a PgMP.
Perfect. Thank you once again. And one last question I have here is PDUs. Yes, Neeraj, an email will be sent out to you very soon. So whoever has participated this or attended this program, they will get a PDU code, and I will, you're my student anyway, you know that. But yes, email will go out with the PDU code and the upcoming program. So feel free to, call me, book an appointment, and I'm sure Ahmad will be available for getting LinkedIn connection and also answering your questions. So thank you once again, Ahmad, and thank you everyone to participate in this very interactive session. I'm happy that this is bringing the knowledge together. More and more people will benefit, and soon we'll put this in recording into the YouTube. So you will have opportunity to watch this again, and your friends and colleagues can also watch. So thank you once again, all, and see you around. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.